Good morning, everybody. My name is Corey Rosen, and you're listening to the Story Podcast. And today I have on a super awesome guest, the Spyders of HBG. The Spyders of HBG are a self-described rock and roll trio formed in Harrisburg, PA in 2010. The band's current lineup is Zach Entenman on guitar and vocals, Dan Ertel on bass guitar and vox, and Elijah Manning on drums, bringing soulful, tongue-in-cheek lyrics and a clean sound combined with adrenaline-fueled melodies and tight harmonies wrapped up nicely with savage drums. The Spiders of HBG have a unique and creative voice that is all their own and provide a performance that is wild, wacky, and always leaving audiences wanting more. The Spiders of HBG are on the first leg of their 2023 Pop, Rock, and Coke tour. They plan to release A Little Impolite, their new 5-song EP, prior to their debut at Arlene's Grocery in New York City with native Brooklyn friend Mag Electric on April 25th. The band will also be making their way back to the Midwest for the first time since 2021 on the second leg of the tour dates to be announced July 2023. How you guys doing?
Good, man. Like, you make it sound so pretty. Thank you.
Yeah, you guys are having your own conversation over there.
Yeah, I mean, we're just learning some stuff together, as
Zach,
friends.
we talked about all of this. You knew this was happening, right? You know why we're here, right?
So tell me, how did you guys get here? What did your how did this love for music begin? When did you guys start to come together? Or let's start with this. Individually, where did your love of music playing come from? Let's start with you, Zach.
Man, that's a great question. So I have a few answers. The first one is where'd the music love come from? It was definitely the Beatles. Pretty much anything from A Hard Day's Night, and then also Blink-182. Pretty much, I think when I was growing up, it was Take Off Your Pants and Jacket, which also is a joke. But the thing that made it seem possible to play live music and be in a band and be successful was That Thing You Do. It was a movie made by Tom Hanks, and it showed a Pennsylvania band that made it big overnight, and they ended up in Hollywood. And I was like, well, if those losers can do it, so can I. And then I saw Buddy Holly with glasses, and I was like, I'm good. All right, we're solved. What about you, Dan?
Yeah, what about you, Dan?
Oh, mine's gonna sound really lame now. So it started when I was a kid. My grandmother had this organ, and she taught me how to play it, and that started my learning of music. And then I met this kid in middle school, and
after his house caught on fire.
Yeah, fun stuff.
Yeah, it's always a trial by fire with us.
Yeah, wait for my autobiography for full details. But anyway, so I meet this kid, and we started a band where I'm playing keyboard, and then at least until showed me a picture of Mike Dirt one day in my computer room. He's just like, "Don't you want to be like this guy? You should play bass."
Play bass like all the cool people.
Yeah, and so now I play bass.
The funniest part about that story is that touching moment for him was actually just me being a selfish bad guy. I just wanted a bass player,
Right. Every good band needs a bass player.
Well, be careful what you wish for.
Yeah, right.
Now you're stuck with me.
The keys came in handy though.
For sure.
Yeah, when we did our last EP, Just Getting By, the first song, what's it called? Something Serenade.
Interlude Serenade.
Yeah, Interlude Serenade. Dan does this wonderful, just ham-fisted slide down the keyboard, just to really bring you in to that moment.
No,
it's great. It definitely works. He doesn't like doing MIDI tracks. MIDI tracks are when you have sound effects built on and stuff like that for anyone listening. But those key skill definitely come in handy.
Yeah, the only reason why I don't like doing them is because, like I told you, you used up my entire supply of them when we did Love at First Sight.
You said his. Sorry, can't say it.
I'm out of mini Fs to give.
Like you said, our upcoming EP is called A Little Impolite, so that's a pretty. What'd you say? That's pretty much who we are.
That sums us up.
So before we get to that, how'd you guys start as a band? You said you met in middle school. Did you guys start a band then, or has this just been? We're gonna create Spiders now.
We've been in technically what? Three
Yeah,
bands?
yeah, it's an interesting story. So my dad bought me a guitar when I was 9, and I immediately threw it down and said I never want to learn it. And then like 2 years later, when I was 12, I saw That Thing You Do, like I mentioned earlier, and I was like, man, I got to start a band, like, make some money and meet some chickies and stuff. The baddies,
Do
I
all the
believe the kids are
things.
calling them. Do all the things, yes.
Do all the things.
It was funny because I was terrified to play live. Like he had to convince me to do that. But like I we were in the school band together. Dan played the trumpet and I played the drums. And I went to a saxophone player friend of mine. I said, "Hey, do you know anyone who plays an instrument? I'm trying to start a band." And then someone mentioned him, and I was like, "Oh, I know him." And it was funny because I think he said no.
I like how you asked, do you know anybody that plays an instrument and you're in band?
Yeah.
Well, he meant a cool instrument.
Right, of course, of course.
Yeah, I mean, my band career is its own funny thing. Like this one time in middle school, there was this
One time
girl.
at band camp.
Yeah, literally, man. There was this cute girl that I liked, and I wanted to impress her, and I made the teacher mad at me, and I ran out, and as I tried to jump over a chair, and I tripped over the chair, and all my papers and everything went flying, and that girl was like right there, like in the front.
I still remember that day. That was great. I was laughing my butt off.
And I ran out of the room screaming, "I'm free."
I'm free. Total middle school shenanigans.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, still doing those shenanigans
Of
too,
course.
whenever
Good old
possible.
days. The good old days.
So you just asked around who's in a band, you found him, and did you guys start as a two-piece and then grow, or
Yeah, we actually started out as a Christian rock two-piece.
Christian rock?
Yep. Yeah, it was the only condition for him joining the band, and like I didn't have many options at the time.
Yeah. He let's just say it's a bad influence on me.
He lived the closest. So that was pretty much what it boiled down
Yeah, we
to,
did
I
live right
guess.
down the street.
So did you guys initially call it the Spiders and go from there, or what?
What was the name?
The Christian rock era was Repent.
I think
A
we were
great Christian rock name.
I think we were Saved for a little bit as well. I think we started as Saved, and then I didn't like that one as much. Like it just was a little too over for me. And then we went to Repent, and that's when we made our first logo. Like we have these ones now, but the original one was like an R with a circle. And we stuck with we went from Repent to Revolt so we could keep the R when we made the transition into punk rock or pop punk rock, really. Yeah.
And then, so when did you guys become? Oh well, here's the better question: did you guys start performing then, or writing then, or what? What was that kind of era?
Yeah, we actually immediately started playing. We've been playing live since we were 13 years old. Our first manager, his name was Shahid. He got us a gig at his church, and it was funny because it was like the Blues Brothers, like James Brown style church service. And the first time I went there, my dad was playing bass for us, and we had to take off after because we had some stuff to do or whatever. And they were like, it's gonna be polite. So when you guys come back for your evening gig tonight, make sure you stick around. So we did. And that was probably to date the wildest show I've ever played. Like, I mean, I'm 13 years old and like the gospel's being flung around, and it was just like, the dancing, the singing. It was a really great experience, I think, for any performer to have. Very Elvis,
No, it's always that moment. Everyone has that story when they're like, "Oh, this is awesome."
Yes, yeah. We were very spoiled, I think, because we took that knowledge, and then we played at once we had made the transition into pop rock, we played our middle school. And it was something I was extremely against. I was terrified to do it. It was funny, like just my class.
Right, yeah, of course.
Uppers, lowers, that's fine, but just not my class. But we did it, and that was when I was hooked, because I remember from the minute I hit that chord, like every girl was screaming. Yeah, and then like the guys were in the back, like, yeah. And we had a really good drummer back then, and I mean we were kids, but that was when I was like, okay, I'm hooked.
So did you guys become like little celebrities in the school, or?
I think so. Yeah, I mean, I became like the knight of the school that year. I took German class, and like I won this award.
Oh wow, that's cool.
I don't remember any German at all. I'm sorry, but
okay.
I mean, simple words, but nothing I learned there. Still have the award though.
That's pretty cool. So when did you guys like start writing original music then too, or?
Yeah, we started original music right away. It actually it fell to me. I've pretty much been the primary songwriter of the group since we started, but Dan definitely has contributed. Through this project, the Spiders. It's been more of a partnership than a one-sided thing. But yeah, I originally started writing Christian rock music, which was interesting. We still have those demos actually. I have it. It's very weird to hear. It's very early recording, so it's like one microphone, like on the guitar.
It's all janky and
yeah,
it's,
like it's literally like a cheap little microphone with like a 1/8-inch like audio jack plugged into like a computer microphone input and
Complete
recorded
DIY.
on like
Yeah, try getting away with that nowadays. It's like
Windows
impossible.
Movie Maker or something stupid.
Yeah, recording has been a huge part of our thing. Like once again, that was something we tried to do immediately with like tape recorders from Walmart and stuff like that.
Oh man, I wish we still had that one tape. We
Yeah.
had this tape that got destroyed. That was like, it was
Yeah, it was like our first time in like a studio. Like there was
Oh,
like
nice.
6 mics around, and it was like a live sound thing. We had another drummer. It was my dad's friend at that time. This is all when we were kids too.
Right.
So we're
That's
like,
really cool though.
yeah, it was for us. It was like sports.
Mm.
Like we could play. Like I played sports. I liked sports. Dan was actually on the basketball team a couple years too. But like,
I made one basket.
Congratulations.
but like, yeah, it was just something that like there was a lot. It was a cool thing to be a part of, and people were really cool in the scene at that time. But then as we got older, it kind of there was a lot more gatekeeping with rock music, and that's kind of where the Spiders came from. Actually, was like we were like, let's take it back to the roots, which to us was the Beatles, and we always actually got more of a reaction playing live from when we basically saw her standing there when we were 15. So we used to kind of incorporate that into our at this point, we went from Christian rock to pop punk, so with Green Day obviously being a major influence. But yeah, that transition was a lot easier for writing songs because I had already had a few. Like I had one that was called "My Little Russian Girl." I have a girl problem.
So we have a question from the audience. Why did you guys stop becoming a Christian band, or do you still have that Christian influence underneath the Spiders?
Oh yeah, definitely. We're both Christians, and like we learned a lot during those experiences. One of our main hangouts actually was like a youth group growing up. It was just like when you're in a group, you have a sound inside you that you want to get out, and for me, I moved into, singing more about things around me or happening to me. And then, teenage angst happens. So, Christian rock just kind of goes in the background. We've thought about, releasing those songs and stuff. And even in our modern music, there's still that element of, that's why we say tongue in cheek lyrics, because, it's a little impolite, which is the name of our upcoming EP once again.
We're also not as like overt as
right,
some groups are these days. Like
we want to be responsible. Like,
yeah,
you see the way that like kids are nowadays, and it's funny because we did the same kind of stuff when we were growing up and working at a Guitar Center. I get exposed to a lot of the youth that come in and see the way that they're acting about stuff, and so we take that very seriously. Like the things that we say in our records or whatever on our stage performance, like I can get a little whatever, but if we're at like an all age show, we're gonna act a lot differently than we would at a 21 and over.
And that's great because that's something, especially nowadays, that's really prevalent is the explicitity in children and music for all ages, right? And teenagers will listen to anything that you'll give them or anything that's on the radio.
Yeah,
and it's a little disturbing of how clearly adult songs are being listened to by like teenagers.
We were just talking earlier about Chuck Berry and how you had his piano player on.
Yeah.
And the funny thing is like I just watched a thing on YouTube talking about, Chuck Berry's looked at this rock and roll god who's saying sex, drugs, rock and roll, all that stuff. But I mean, he also wrote "You Never Can Tell," which is a song about a young couple that got married, and like he has a bunch of songs like that, and a lot of artists have songs like that. "Ruby Tuesday" by the Rolling Stones.
Well, it's only
Liam.
seems to be that hi Liam.
I love Reliant K. Actually, we want to cover "Be My Escape," but I also love Sadie Hawkins' dance. I saw the thing in there, and I really like them.
So, oh yeah. Well, what about a band like okay? So you started. You still have the Christian on the line. No, I really appreciate that you're doing that because it's a needed thing in nowadays, especially for people to go out and feel like safe at a family friendly show and not be inundated with all the inappropriateness of American culture.
Yeah, it definitely gets wild. Like, I tour manage a group that's on the complete, we are still a punk
Complete
band at
other end
heart,
of the,
but yeah, they
spectrum.
definitely are a little. Big Gorgeous is their name. If you want to check them out, but they definitely are but the funny thing about them is even a group like that, it's all like just a don't judge a book by its
Oh,
cover
of course.
thing, which is crazy. Actually, our drummer is from the Deep South, so he's also got a Christian background, and
Yeah, before drumming with us, he had only ever drummed in his church, right?
yeah,
Wow.
Yeah.
No, he'd been in one other band. But anyway, yeah, we were when we were touring with Big Gorgeous, he was with us, and he really liked the song "Crack in Her Hand," and I was singing it one time, and I love making goofy lyrics about stuff. And he's like, "Don't ruin that song for me, man. It's like the only one I like." And I'm like, "What are you talking about?" And he's like, "Oh, come on, dude. Easter pie, it's satanic, blah blah blah." And the funny thing is, that song is actually a recipe. It's a coal mining region of Pennsylvania, like thing that they make for Easter pie.
Wow.
And like they're literally just telling you how to make it, but the music video and their look and everything make you think like another thing. So I love working with those guys. They really, really care just as much as we do about you know, everyone caring about each other, providing fun, environment for people to go, that you can let loose and be crazy, but there's also still like, a line,
Right. There's no boundaries. Yeah.
Which is, but there's this guy wearing a onesie and a devil mask doing it. So I mean, that's just,
Right. So let's get to the formation of the Spyders. Why you decided to reform? What was it? Revolt at that point into the Spyders.
The Revolt had actually broken up at that point. We had been broken up for maybe a year or two, doing our own little things, and then we were just kind of hanging out one day, and we just doing what dudes do,
Right.
and we wrote a bunch of these songs, and then I think it was right before he decided to go into the Air Force. We want to play. I want to play some shows before I go. So we found an open mic night, and we just decided to play a bunch of these Spider songs, and roped in a guy from the open mic night to drum for us. And turns out everybody liked it. And
yeah, we sold a bunch of copies of it. We had a self-made record called Insert Title Here. We sold it around the Middletown School District and Harrisburg at shows, and we actually used to charge like an extra dollar for our autograph. People paid it. And still, actually, people still do buy it. Like that's our hottest selling item is our CDs, which is pretty cool.
That's good.
Yeah,
the way you make money, really.
Yeah, and it's nice that people actually care about the music still. When you're on the road, a lot of times, like it feels like it really is more about like the show aspect, and people don't really care about the music. But I mean, I don't think that's true. Like, I definitely still vibe to some music out there in like a live show. But yeah, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
So why the Spyders of HBG?
Yeah, like Dan said, I was joining the military. I wanted to play some shows, and we had written these Beatlesque songs. The Revolt had broken up. We'd done side projects. This was all in a matter of like 4 or 5 years. And when we recorded the original demo, which I think we called All Day Jam, we never released it. It was just like some demos.
rough demos.
Yeah, we were like, well, like I was saying earlier, we don't like the scene right now. Let's go back to basics, and I want to play some shows, see how it goes. People like the Beatles stuff; they really enjoyed it, and we were doing really, really well for a month, and then I joined the Air Force for 9 years. But I would come back every 6 months or so, and we do a few things here, like recording or do a couple shows. But we named it the Spiders because I have arachnophobia. And I thought it was like a Batman thing, Like I was like, hey, we'll name it after something I'm scared of. And it's really cool that it's been as successful as it has. So I guess Batman is a real story.
It is a real story. So
Zach, you're not Batman.
you're a spider.
Yeah.
You're Georgie.
I've become what I feared the most. Oh yeah. That actually our mascot is a spider named Georgie. And we don't have him on the t-shirts. We have a sticker somewhere around, but like he's kind of the voice of the band.
That is Georgie.
Yes. And he was a spider that lived in one of the acoustic guitars.
Suits too. Yeah, different suits.
Yep. Yeah. We have live merch and we have merch available on our website. These style shirts with the logo on them are only on tours or at the venues. They're $20 a t-shirt. And then we also have like the demos, everything. Like we try to make it an experience for you if you come. So that's why we have like touring only merch compared to what we can sell online.
And so you mentioned you go to the Air Force. Why?
Well, it was 2010. It was 2 years after the recession. I actually went to Dauphin County Tech School, and I took electronics technology, which there was a market for, but with someone with no experience, it was very hard to find work. I was a bit of a troublemaker as well, so my parents kind of convinced me to go in a little bit of a way. At the end of the day, obviously, the decision was mine, and I kind of looked at everything. Like there was stuff happening with our band, but I was like, maybe I saw my own ego. I don't really know. We were definitely a lot like way different guys back then,
right?
And I kind of wonder. I think we would have fizzled out a lot faster, just because things were happening pretty quick with that original project. When we came back, we added the of HBG. Not really a significant factor at the time, but as time's gone on, it kind of seems like we did redevelop again into a more modern sound since time is different now. And that's kind of where A Little Impolite, our next EP, is going. Is we're building off of our roots, which we're talking about right now, and pop punk. So that's going to be a different kind of record, but it's still going to have those classic elements that make up the Spyders. So
before we move on from the military, I like to ask all of our veterans a question, because everyone has that one story of the military.
I got plenty.
What is like one of the funniest or wildest things you've ever done in the military?
Oh man, I mean, it depends on how many of my old bosses are watching, I guess. Craziest thing. Well, I worked with bombs. So
like artillery or like
no, like the actual like bombs that they will drop from the planes. I actually built those.
That must be fun.
Actually reminds me of a funny story. I remember I forget what all the circumstances, but I think you had to resolder something with your guitar like before a recording session.
Oh yeah.
And I'm like, don't you like do this stuff for the military? And he's like, well, in my defense, it only has to work once.
I also had a guy at a show when I came home once in 2014. We were playing at Boob's Brewery, and he's like, yeah, you guys play around at all or anything like that? And I was like, no, I'm in the military. I kind of come back for a few shows, like 4 shows maybe every 6 months. And he's like, oh, you're in the military? What do you do? It's like, oh, I build bombs. Hold on. So you're a rock musician and you also build bombs in the military? And I was like, yeah, I guess that sums that up. He's like, man, your life sounds awesome. I was like, well, that's cool.
Definitely explosive.
I don't know. I mean, the craziest story was I had a friend that this is a work story. I'll tell another one later if you ask nice. But I was deployed at the time, and you have the big 2,000-pound bombs, and it was stacked like 4 high, and my friend was like, you know what, man? Like, I can move this stuff without you. I don't need your help. So I'm sitting there trying to do my job and spot him or whatever. Long story short, he knocks the pallet over. And I just watched my whole life flash before my eyes. And like, this is obviously a huge no-no.
Right.
And it didn't go off or anything. The nice thing is like bombs are relatively, safe.
Yeah. Still bombs, but
Yeah. But I just remember like there was like that 5 seconds felt like 30 minutes, and like I looked up and I was like, really? How are you gonna pick this up? So then, his mistake, I then ended up having to also fix, and we create this elaborate way of using tie downs on a forklift to like,
oh my
yeah,
goodness.
it's like this whole thing. Yeah, it was that was probably the scariest, craziest moment I could think of off the top of my head. There's obviously other stuff like moving dynamite strapped down on pallets by hand, like a book, or like
That's crazy.
yeah, I did a lot of cool stuff. I worked with SEAL Team 1 for a while.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, no, there was a cool moment where I was driving this 40-footer. I'm sorry, I was driving a tractor trailer loaded with bombs for these guys, and there was this very beautiful SEAL female member. They like run their accountability sections or whatever, and like I think she thought I was cute, and I'm just sitting there just trying to drive. I'm just like, man, why am I in the desert right now, man? This is ridiculous. But yeah, no, a lot of cool people, a lot of cool experiences, and I definitely have a huge respect for anyone now going in and doing it. And it gives you a lot of options. It gave me the courage to do this.
I was about to say, what was one of the um, lessons that you took away, most memorable lessons that you took away from the military that has helped in this band?
Be humble and look out for the people around you, basically. At the end of the day, you only have the people that you're given. So, like when me and Dan approached the project again, it was a very kind of military style business meeting. Like we have an objective, or at least a short-term objective with a long-term objective in order, and how do we reach that? And we spent how long, I mean, did we spend on that? Do you remember?
The meeting, or
Yeah, like just devising this whole plan.
a couple of hours, I think.
Yeah, like, from recording sessions to like how are we gonna get shows and everything like that, like, and a lot of late nights. My schedule pretty much changed. For any budding musicians out there, if you're looking for places to play or to get yourself out there, if you go onto Facebook, there's a bunch of groups out there that have like, yeah, usually I see a lot of bigger opportunities between like 11 p.m. to 4 a.m. But I mean, we got on 105 Bueller's station. Oh, we got played on the radio out in Altoona because of something like that. We were on the big break last year where we had a chance to play the Hollywood Bowl. We made it to like the last 3 sets of finalists or something like that, which is really, really cool for us. Yeah, I mean,
And another thing to add on to that, if you're a budding musician, I don't know if you've ever heard of Stage Rush before.
sort of familiar.
Yeah, so Stage Rush is it's a website. I've had the owners on here before, and I'm not sponsored or paid to say anything. I just like their product. They had all the venues like Telus, Fetish, etc. They're on there, and they only book through there. So you sign up as an artist, it's free, and you get all of your bio, your whatever you can set your own rates, set different rates for different things, and you can apply directly to those venues without having to ask, okay, who do I email or who do I have to call or who would I have to what band has played there that knows blah blah blah. It cuts out the middleman.
Yeah.
And so it's a really great place for local artists to get on and to get out into spaces. And it's growing and growing. They got venues in Philly and New York City now, and I really think it's a great. And if you want to ever book somebody, it's really easy to go on there as a personal booker and go on and book whatever band you want.
Oh, I didn't know. Is that like in depth? That's really cool. I'll have to make sure I double check that out.
Yeah, it's very nice. It's the only way you can get into places like Telus, unless you're like a national act, of course.
Yeah. I've heard things about Tell. It's also like Phantom Power
Phantom
out
Power's
here,
cool.
and I've been trying to play Mickey's Black Box for a while. That'd be really cool too. Definitely a really great scene out in Lancaster, and Harrisburg's got some really cool programs as well.
So you're done with the military. You come back and you start taking this spider stuff seriously.
Yeah.
What goes on from there? You have your first board meeting. What are let's talk about that because I feel like a lot of people, a lot of band members, a lot of artists are very not organized.
Yeah, definitely. It's a sign of the next step, when you do have a chance to be able to identify yourself to people. I've noticed that a lot of newer bands, like, they tend to play some of the same stuff,
Mhm.
and nothing against anyone. I've heard some good versions of other stuff, but like, um, going in with something with your band's name on it, um, you know, a business card, some stickers, really, really takes you a long way because there's so many bands out there. Actually, Dan here, I'm sure would love to explain
Yeah.
how we separated ourselves from the mold with our branding.
Well,
Give
it's a
Dan
simple.
chance to
This
talk.
guy went to college.
Yeah. Yes, I study graphic design. That's why we have so many different stickers and logos and websites because I can do them. But but yeah, basically, it was kind of a fake it until you make it strategy that we utilized, where it was like, the whole idea of like having the business plan, planning it out like a business, treating it like it was its own like product or company, was that when we presented it to people, it could pretend that that was already an established
It
thing.
legitimizes itself.
Right, like,
Yeah.
the fact that
also
there is a spidersofhbg.com, like, before we were even playing shows,
Gives
like,
you authenticity. Yeah.
right, it's like, "Oh, these guys have a
it,
website. These guys have."
it's a little like there's a couple of difference. I mean, he's definitely right 100% for any, and there's free resources out there to have these sort of things too.
Yeah.
But we did, we had done some work previous, and that was one of the
Mhm.
reasons we kept the name Spiders, was because it was somewhat recognized
Right.
from, when I would play in the service songs out wherever, and when we would come home. So we definitely still wanted to capitalize off of that.
But, yeah, like, the main idea behind it was, make ourselves look bigger than we actually are,
Right.
and people won't question it. That's don't go into marketing if you like people, because it makes you very cynical on how to sell to people. But yeah, 'cause basically that was the idea. Is that, people aren't going to think twice.
The funny thing is, though, is at the
And
same time, it also gave us a challenge. Like, he's such a
Yeah.
humble man over here. Like, I mean, it's crazy how much we have. Like, it was because of the late nights that this guy stayed up. He's our engineer, or he was our engineer. We just hired out somebody else for our new EP for that. But making the pictures, making the logos, coming up with the ideas for the merch and stuff like that.
editing the live show videos,
Yeah.
making lyric videos,
So
making the website.
so moving to modern day, what is your big objective and some short term objectives of you guys?
For sure. Well, we have a lot coming up. The first thing is we're gonna be booking out, or we have our upcoming second leg of the tour coming in the fall. We're finishing the last leg of our tour right now, which April 1st will be in Phoenixville at the Sound Bank. And then April 25th, we're making our debut at Arlene's Grocery in New York City with our good friends Mag Electric, the Wee Beasties, and Holy Vulture. So we're very excited for that. We're also working on the EP that's supposed to be coming out like April 15th, April 17th, as soon as we finish the post production. And then we also have some new pieces where we're going to be working on for the shows to make those better in the fall. Some video and things like that. And we're also going to be working on some new content. We have some subscribers also subscribe to our YouTube channel, the Spiders of HBG. We're going to be adding some stuff with Georgie. We're going to try and flesh him out a little bit and have like a fun series about
That's
him
cool.
and his adventures living in our instruments.
No, that's awesome.
Mhm.
I don't know if you are familiar with Plunder and Lightning.
Ooh.
They're a pirate band out of Harrisburg, and they have this whole they have Skelvis, which is Skeleton Elvis, and unfortunately he's lost right now. We don't know where he is, right?
Yeah.
And so they have this whole mini documentary of like following his travels and where is he and the kidnappers and the whole the whole shebang.
That's cool.
So I love it when bands like take their stuff to the next level and start making production out of it. There's lore now.
Yeah, exactly. That's kind of where we're going, and we have some other stuff we're kind of keeping close to our chest. We still have the movie. We were approached about doing a movie a couple years ago by a good friend of ours named the Madman, and we have the script. We're just still working on building funding and time. I think that's the hardest part about being in a band now
Anything, yeah.
is just the time. Like I said, I do another music project that's on the road pretty frequently. And then I have this, and I have my own day job. And another thing for the budding musicians out there, day jobs aren't the worst thing ever. Like having
No.
some money coming in is definitely really, really nice. And
Eating is better than starving.
yeah,
That's very true.
yeah, I used to say all the time, like, we were a good band for a while, and nobody knew us, and then we sold out, and now people know who we are, and we get to eat.
So, yeah, let's get into some of the music that we have here. We have the first up is "Ain't No Losing No Sleep." Tell me about this and this song.
Yeah, this is really cool. So going back to the military background, I was in Panama City Beach. I just come back from a year in Korea, and I don't know. I was like up super late. Like I always create around like 2 or 3 in the morning. I don't know, just like my quiet time. And I wrote this song, and it was just like a jumble of words. Like it's never changed. I think it's just kind of intended to be whatever you want it to be about, with a motto that anyone can agree with, which is not losing any sleep over it. You know.
It may not have changed, but if I remember correctly, a fun fact when we were recording it, what was it, 46 or 47 takes for you to get that solo right.
Constant professionals.
Well, with that said, this is "Ain't Losing No Sleep" by the Spyders of HBG.
I'm starting to wonder, is this a cover? Am I just another obscene offender? If it's the truth, baby, why don't you stand by? Am I just your cobbler on the roof, waiting for you to come and let me die? Don't you tell me you won't do me no harm. Am I just some pathetic stranger? I'll tell you one thing, I ain't losing no sleep. I'll tell you one thing, I ain't losing no sleep. I ain't losing no sleep. heart is speaking true. Mona Lisa, so many questions all around, soon to be found. I'm always watching over my shoulder for a pat on the back, because I'm too close to the edge. But I ain't losing no sleep. I ain't losing no sleep. I said I ain't losing no sleep. I ain't some kind of lapdog for you, girl. I'm my own man when I wanna be, you see. If there's something wrong with love, there must be something right with hate, I guess. All I know is one thing's for sure, and that's I ain't losing no sleep. 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 Baby,
And that was Ain't Losing No Sleep by the Spyders of HBG. And we're going to play another song, Other Girls Like You. Tell me about this one.
This one is actually off our latest single. We just released it like not too long ago. I wrote this one on a deployment actually in the desert, and Dan likes it because he thinks it sounds like you're walking on a camel.
Is it about that one Navy SEAL girl? Or?
It might have been. It was written around the same time. It was actually, I don't know. Once again, I think it's just one of those ones for you to determine what it's about, you know.
Well, let's take a listen.
well, I see this hole that we slowly fall into. It seems like all I care about these days are me and you. The deeper that I start to go, I slowly try to wait. This must be my imagination, 'cause I'm too young to fade. You know this seems so great, but I really need to think it through. Well, I know there's other girls like you. Well, I know there's other girls like you. I see them all around me, like when we go out for a drink. Even though when I see you, I just can't seem to blame. You're the kind of girl that most guys wouldn't even think to look around at where they are or where they go to sleep. You know this seems so great, but I really need to think this through. Well, I know there's other girls like you. Well, I know there's other girls like you. Inside, I know it's time to let this rest. I finally found the object that will fill my loneliness. It may be hard, but I think that I have finally thought answer that seems to be coming through. You know it seems so great, but I really need to think it through. Well, I know there's other girls like you. Well, I know there's other girls like you.
So, tell me, what can people expect on this new EP that you guys are writing?
And now it's time for something completely different.
Right.
Exactly. I was gonna say nothing like anything you just heard.
It's honestly like I said, we kind of have gone in a new direction where we're kind of revisiting our own roots. Like when we started, we decided to revisit rock roots, and now we're going back to the Spiders, the Fee, the Revolt, Saved, whichever one you prefers, roots.
Yeah,
Um,
it's a lot more punky. Like
we wanted to do a clean, like live sounding album. So it's definitely it's got distortion in it, which is new for us and our fans, I think. Yeah, we haven't done that in a while.
we do it live.
It's a
but
lot
not
faster.
recorded.
Yeah, it's actually kind of funny. We say punky, but our drummer says it's a gospel beat, so it kind of gives it a little bit more of an interesting sound. But we have some of the song titles: "Once in a Lifetime," "Penn State," or "One Night at Penn State," which is the one we're really looking forward to releasing. "I Won't Stop,"
Purple Haired Temptress.
and "Doing Me."
Nice. And that's coming out next month, or?
Yes.
Yeah, April. It's gonna be either April 15th or April 17th, just depending on when we can get the post production done. But it'll be on Spotify and everything like that. We have some music videos in mind. It's one of our we're actually hiring a model for this one.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, we're actually we're doing the full bore. We've talked to a couple of our friends in the media about it. We're trying to do like an actual release and have it ready for New York, and hopefully we have a whole special set planned for New York City that we'll be releasing on our website and on YouTube. So you'll hear a lot of those songs live as well pretty soon after the release.
As a quick addition to what we said earlier about for aspiring musicians about how day jobs not the worst thing. We can't pay for the model or the engineer off of our music money.
Right.
It's because like literally it's because I work at Sheets and I get money.
Yeah, no, same here. I wouldn't be able to do all the stuff I'm able to do with the podcast without my day job. It's just
so
well, the funny thing
have
is,
a day job. It's not the end of the world.
there really aren't a lot of bands out there that are just a band.
Right, of course.
A lot of people.
It's unrealistic, really.
Yeah, most people have companies or they're producers. Like they're hiring out for their services. Like you said, I know that you said you yourself have job opportunities in mind for someone at some point.
Right.
And we have the same thing. We have our own crew. We have our tour manager, and we have people that come along and do merch for us and talk to people. It grows a lot, when you get to that next step.
So I'm going to move on to any questions that the audience has or that I have that I like to ask all my guests. So if you have any questions for these guys, be sure to leave them in the comments. Also, the website that you mentioned that is the Spyders of HBG.com. That's SPYDERS of HBG. HBG, yeah, .com. So be sure to check them out there. So
we got a quick question.
Sure.
They asked where we're going to be playing next, and we're going to be at the Sound Bank in Phoenixville, PA, April 1st with some really cool bands, Hatter, Cinema Hearts, and Shadow Puppets. It's gonna be a cool show.
Yeah,
it's also it's gonna be one of the last shows at that venue. Unfortunately, they're having to move premises, so definitely come out and try the chicken sandwich before it's gone because it's delicious.
So as Christians, I'd like to ask anybody of faith this question: what is worship to you guys? When do you feel most in tune with God?
It's actually funny you asked that. I would say it's whenever we're together during like the studio. When we were kids, we used to hang out in this garage, And like anyone does, you have like long, deep talks with your friends. And we used to question a lot of like, man, why are we here? Why are we together? Why are we playing music and stuff like that? So the fact that, we've been friends since we were 13 years old. I'm turning 31 next month. He's turning 32 the month after. Um, obviously that faith is something that is in our DNA with this band and music in general. So to me, like, that's my worship, I guess, when I get to be with my friend in the studio.
And I think for me, it's kind of evolved over the years. I used to be a very like active churchgoer. Not so much anymore. I've kind of gone more towards a more personal form of spirituality, I guess you could say. Like, I guess for me, the best I can do is I look at the example of that like Christ set for us, and like basically how close I can
Align with that.
yeah, like basically the idea of just being a good person, helping others when I can, kind of thing, and that kind of stuff. Like just kind of trying to be a general good guy. I think is kind of the way that I tended to express that.
Yeah, we also try to do that in other stuff too. Like last year, I held a charity concert with Big Gorgeous and the Programmatics, a couple other bands, and we did a canned food drive. And I'm looking at trying to do that again this year. Because what's the point in my opinion, what's the point in being in a band and having a community and not using it for anything?
Right.
Hmm.
Absolutely right. So next up, on a completely silly note, what is one of the worst or funniest things that ever happened to you guys out on a gig?
Oh man.
You want to go first or should I? Because I
think
have
you
my
should-
answer.
You should go. Yeah.
Okay, so this is an entire day for me. This was very recent.
Oh yeah.
So we had a show booked in Philly, and
We won't mention the name of the venue.
course.
Yeah.
But yeah.
so he went down the night before, and I didn't have the money to chip in for a hotel. So I'm like, oh, cool. I'll just catch a train the day of, and you just pick me up at the train station. I've never ridden the train before, so I get there, and when I saw e-ticket, I thought that meant electronic ticket because I booked it over the phone, and like there was nobody at the train station, and so I was in the wrong spot, and I missed my train. So I'm like, well, crap. So it turns out my dad was going down to Philly anyway. So I call him, and thankfully he was able to pick me up. And he gave me a ride, dropped me off at the hotel. Turns out he dropped me off at the wrong hotel. And so
I fell asleep for like an extra 2 hours.
yeah, like I'm sitting in the lobby of the wrong hotel waiting for this guy to text me back. And then finally I had to walk, like it was only like 5 minutes up the street or whatever. But
Right.
so we do all that. We get ready for the show. We hop in the truck. We get to the venue. We literally unload the whole truck. We're talking to the sound guy. The promoter comes up. She's like, "Oh, who are you guys? We're the Spyders of HBG. I have never heard of you before." And
this email says you did. Oh, well, that's too bad. Have a nice day.
apparently, like we were not on for that night. And so after all of that,
To be fair, though, the sound guy actually tried to get us on, which was
Yeah.
really nice of him. But
I mean, like we had just unloaded everything too. Like literally, the truck was empty.
yeah,
And
it
we had-
definitely was a wild thing. That was the
Yeah.
first show that like we didn't book ourselves either.
Oh,
Yeah, so like
this is funny.
that entire day for me, it was just like, and then we went to the casino afterwards and I lost $60. So like
If that makes you feel better, America.
I don't think that I mean, unless you count the s'mores tour, all kinds of stuff happened on that. But
I think mine was what was that? It was when we first played HMAC, like when I left to go get dressed, it was just a normal room. And then I'd never played we had never played anything like that before where it's got like the smoke screens and everything like that. So like I get dressed and I go up and I open the door and it's just like lights and fog. Like, I was like, "Ah," like, where's the bass player? I can't see anything. That was probably the weirdest thing for me, was like just trying to find my little hole where I was supposed to jump around and dance, you know?
That's awesome.
Yeah, that was a really cool that was a real rock star moment. I guess the second one would be on our tour, the S'mores tour. There were these kids playing. We stayed at this like little cabin, and the kids were like, "Oh, I want to be a fireman when I grow up, or I want to be a
Whatever.
space cowboy," and like I was like, "That's really cool, kids." Yeah, it's kind of funny you guys are saying that, because like I want to be a musician and I am one. The kid like bumped into me. That's how I ended up there. Like I didn't like purposely go, "Hey, listen to my
Right,
life
right,
story." But nah, yeah.
Hey, little kid.
I just
let
thought
me
that
tell
was
you about
super
my
cool.
life.
I thought it was super cool, like being able to look a kid in the face and be like, "Yeah, you can do whatever you want, man. It's awesome."
That's awesome.
Just don't expect to make money at it.
Sometimes.
Some money would be nice. Nah, I was kidding. Honestly, like we do okay. We're very happy and proud to have the fans that we do, and we couldn't do it without them. Like I was telling you earlier, even our shirts, like everything we do is based off of fan support. So, when you come to our shows, if you want to remember your experience, we got this stuff for you. And also any other band you go and see, like the road's hard. Live music is hard.
Mhm.
So any help that you can give, like a like and a share on a
Yeah,
Facebook
Oh, even
post.
that, yeah.
The sheer amount of work that goes into a 30-minute set.
Right. Yeah.
Like,
Yeah,
you know,
actually,
it'll be an entire day. Like,
we
you
had
know-
some really cool people come up to us once, and they were in tears, and they were like, "Thank you so much for like you're so talented, and the fact that you guys would have the time or spare your time to entertain us is insane to them." And
Yeah, like-
that was a really cool feeling.
it does blow my mind sometimes when I think about it. Like let's say for example, last show we did Jen's. Like,
Oh yeah, Jen's Rhythm and Brews is the
Yeah.
greatest place ever.
Yeah,
I
that
love
place
you,
is awesome.
Jen.
But I forget what time in the morning we got up, but like that was like a first thing in the morning. We're getting up, we're loading, and we're like heading over there, and then like setting up, and then we play for 30 minutes, and then I'm not getting home until like 2 o'clock in the morning.
Right.
Like it's like literally my entire day and like half of my morning is gone, and all for that 30 minutes of pure awesome rock and roll.
And
That was another thing too, is going back to the Christian, that conversation topic we were talking about. We actually just did a benefit festival for the second time with the Four Diamonds Association with Gettysburg Rocks. Our good friend Jamie, shout out to her. Her and Rob from the Racehorse Tavern. They work really, really hard, and we raised like $18,000 for kids with cancer at those shows. Like we didn't get paid for that or anything, and that to me is one of the greatest things about being in a band, is having the opportunity to not only have people that want to listen to you, but will also come to a show and help out a cause like that. Yeah, I think that's really cool.
I was going to mention, for anybody who wants to help out their favorite bands, buy their merchandise, because they don't make money off of streams on anything else.
It's like
About 0.003 cents.
Yeah,
on
I was
Spotify.
gonna, right. I thought it was 0.001.
No, I think that's some of the other ones.
Oh, okay.
But still, yeah, the best.
Like in like what I think we put out our first thing on Spotify in 2019.
Yeah, we actually had, that was our goal, was we released the first the first single, Missing. We said we wouldn't go any further unless we had like people listening to it, and we had like 200 streams in a month or whatever. And we're like, okay, we'll keep going.
But yeah, anyway, like in that time, like I think we made $13.
Yeah, with one album sale.
Yeah, so like
we're not
getting
start
money
off,
from
but like
streaming.
now, I mean, we get like a couple thousand a month and stuff, and we get to play, and we're going back to the Midwest later this year. We're going to Indiana most likely. And then we're also going to be playing in Delaware and Harrisburg, which, like I said, that'll come out in July.
So be sure to stay tuned with that. You can go to their website, www.thespydersofhbg.com. That's SPYDERS of HBG.com. It's been great having you guys on.
Thanks for having us.
It's been great being here. Yeah,
of course. My name is Corey Rosen. This is the Story Podcast. You can find out more about me and the projects I do, and this podcast at CoreyRosenProductions.com. That's CORYROSEN Productions.com. There you can find about my personal projects as well as more of the past 140 guests that I've had on this show. And if you want to stay tuned for more amazing people, this Sunday we have Cody Ross Smith. He's a country guy. And also that evening there's a concert, Conrad Fisher concert that I really should remember the details of that I'm going to be emceeing and hosting over in Harrisburg. So go out to see that. He's another Christian artist as well. So he's up for a CPMA as well. So
That's always awesome.
this Monday, I'm having Glenn Hollenbach come over. He is one of the managers over at Tone Taylor's. He also has his side projects going on with Stephanie Grace, an amazing country artist from the Reading, Douglasville area up north. This Tuesday, I'm having Eric Worsing on, one of the founding members of the Rush tribute band Solar Federation. Incredible musician, incredible guy. I'm excited to talk to him. Thursday is the Central Pennsylvania Music Awards over in Hershey. So please go out there. It's going to be an incredible night full of incredible people, incredible artists, and it's a great networking opportunity. You guys going?
We're not sure.
That's fair.
We want to go, but like I said, we were gonna go to the after party, but it just depends on what's going on in our lives. Like,
I mean, we are.
But we want to be there, and we hope to see you guys there one way or the other. Because God bless, Brandon Valentine for everything he's done for the Central Pennsylvania community.
And I mean, I do live closer on the Hershey side of Harrisburg, so.
So yeah, be sure to go out to that. It's going to be a great night. It's going to be a red carpet experience for the band, so it's a great PR opportunity to get professional photos taken of you. I know.
Hey, we can get that photo shoot done we've been talking about.
There you go. Yeah, I mean,
free photo shoot, awesome.
That's why I'm going.
We know he's got the suit.
Yeah, I'll be nominated for an award as well as countless others that have been on the show and that deserve recognition. So if you want to hear some really good music and some really good artists, please go. It's going to be a great opportunity.
We're rooting for Alexia Christian.
Absolutely, Alexia Christian, and it's just not album of the year, is it?
I think she was up for that last year. No, she was best new artist last year.
Yeah, Alexia Christian is a great person. And Friday we're having another great person, Stephen Courtney. I don't know if you know about Stephen Courtney. He's a great local legendary children's artist. He has 5 songs on Sesame Street.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and so he does incredible work with children in the area and does a lot of things retaining to that. And then the following Saturday, we have Keith Randall, who is another acoustic group solo act who is also nominated for a CPMA. So there's a lot of stuff going on next week. Yeah. So be sure to tune in that.
Could I just say one thing to everyone?
Of course you can.
Some other really cool bands out there you might not be aware of that we really enjoy would be like the Stone Eye from Philly. You got the Programmatics out of Harrisburg, Big Gorgeous, obviously, Alexia Christian, Burden of Guilt. Just there's a lot of great artists out there that they might not be at the CPMAs this year, but they're on their way, so you should check out their music too.
John Garcia and the Hopeless Romantics. You got
Ben
Tommy
Brandt.
B, Ben Brandt and the Soul Miners Union. Shout out to Liam if you're still watching. Incredible music, and I think Rascal Revival is based out of there too.
Yeah, I think there's like The Roof and The Mission or something too. They're really good. The Juice.
And there's an incredible rap scene over there as well.
That's what we want to get involved in.
Yeah, Duke's So Crazy, Chudo Jew.
We would love to go on tour with a good rapper. Like that'd be so fun.
I'll hook you up with some people.
Thanks, man.
Well, with all that said, I hope you guys have a wonderful rest of the day, and we will see you guys later. Bye.
Peace.